Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Autocar India's Quick News, your weekly update on all the hot launches, all those big scoops, and of course all the news happening in the world of automobiles.
To catch more videos and keep updated through the week, do remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest uploads.
So let's start off with the big news this week, and no, it's not a new hatchback or an SUV, it's changes to the Motor Vehicles Act of 1988 or the Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill, which has finally been passed again by the Lok Sabha. Now this brings about a lot of changes in the bill, including stricter fines for people who break traffic rules. Let's have a closer look.
The Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill was passed in the lower house of the central government and will now make its way to the upper house or the Rajya Sabha. The amendment proposes stiffer fines for individuals who break rules, and while most fines have been increased by about 2.5 times, some fines have been increased over 10 times. It will also bring in new laws to hold road contractors liable in case of a faulty road. But it is not just you and me or the common folk that will be fined. There is also a proposed double fine if an enforcement authority commits the offences. For more details, visit autocarindia.com.
Alright, then let's move on to the launches, and it's been a quiet week just like last week, this time around too, but it's been a big week for BMW as it had two flagship launches, the updated 7 Series facelift and the brand new flagship SUV, the X7.
Let's start with the BMW 7 Series facelift. The car features a larger and more prominent BMW kidney grille that now has been flanked by sleeker headlamps. It also gets new bumpers in the front and rear, along with updated tail lamps. Under the hood, the 7 Series facelift features a plethora of powertrain options. One can either have the standard 730LD diesel or the 740Li petrol motor or the 745Le plug-in hybrid. The range-topping version, however, is the 760Li that features a 6.6-litre twin-turbocharged V12 petrol motor, good for 609 horsepower and 850 Nm of torque. And here are the prices with the range starting at 1,22 lakh rupees. And that brings us to the brand new X7, the all-new flagship SUV in the BMW range. The X7 gets an in-your-face styling with possibly the largest kidney grille ever seen and an upright and typically SUV-esque design language that one expects from a flagship. The 7 or 6-seater layout, depending on how you spec the car, is what differentiates it from the rest of the BMW SUV lineup. In India, the X7 will get two engine options to begin with, the xDrive 40i, which is a 3-litre petrol, or the xDrive 30D, which is a 3-litre diesel. Both cars come with an 8-speed gearbox and all-wheel drive. BMW has also positioned the X7 very well, with prices starting at 98,90,000 rupees. While the petrol 40i will be a CBU, the diesel 30D will be locally assembled. BMW will also launch a range-topping X7 M50D in India later this year. The 3-litre quad-turbo diesel engine will make a whopping 400 horsepower and 760 Nm of torque.
But that's not the only BMW news this week. Now we already know about the partnership with JLR, which was announced last month in terms of electric mobility with components like electric motors, drive units, etc. But now there is more. BMW will also supply internal combustion engines, and that means both petrol, diesel and hybrid powertrains too, to Jaguar Land Rover. Let's have a look at those details.
BMW will supply JLR with internal combustion engines, including inline 4 and 6-cylinder units, both with and without electrically assisted hybrid functions. The move is set to be aimed at allowing Jaguar Land Rover to reduce its ongoing investment in petrol, diesel and hybrid engines and instead focus its research and development spending on electric drivelines in partnership with BMW. By joining forces on both electric and internal combustion engine powertrains, Jaguar Land Rover and BMW hope to reap the rewards of increased economies of scale while sharing development costs to remain competitive.
Let's move on to some exclusive news now, and first up it's Maruti's new 6-seater MPV, which will be sold exclusively through the Nexa premium outlets. Now it's got a name, it's called the XL6, but that's not the exclusive bit. The exclusive bit, as we can officially tell you now, is that it will only be available in the top two variants, Zeta and Alpha.
Some of the key features include individual captain seats for the second row, full LED headlamps with LED daytime running lamps, LED tail lamps similar to the Ertiga, and an all-black interior. The top-spec Alpha will also get leather seats, cruise control and a two-tone paint job. While the exterior will also get upgrades like plastic claddings, under the hood the XL6 will be available only with a petrol engine with the option of an auto or a manual gearbox.
And more exclusive news, and this will definitely excite SUV lovers. The Jeep Compass Automatic Diesel will soon be available in more affordable variants.
Jeep is likely to make the BS6 compliant 2-litre diesel engine, which makes 173 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, and the 9-speed torque converter automatic package available on the lower spec and mid-spec variants of the standard Jeep Compass. Sources also tell us that these variants will ditch the 4-wheel drive setup in order to keep the costs low. This will also be a very good move for Jeep, as most SUV buyers in this or most segments rarely really take their 4-wheel drive vehicles off-road in any case.
Now, Volvo has recalled over 5 lakh cars and SUVs globally over a fire hazard, and that includes 3,000 vehicles right here in India too. Let's have a look at why.
The recall was prompted by a number of reported incidents concerning Volvo's 4-cylinder 2-litre diesel engines used on cars and SUVs made between 2014 and 2019. An investigation identified a plastic engine intake manifold that could melt and ignite a fire in the engine bay. Models that are affected by the recall in India include the S60, the S60 Cross Country, the S90, the V40, the V40 Cross Country, the V90 Cross Country, the XC60 and the XC90, essentially Volvo's diesel-powered portfolio in India.
And that's not the only recall this week. Kawasaki has recalled every single locally manufactured Ninja 300 because of an issue with a very critical brake component.
Kawasaki says that there's an issue with the front brake master cylinder made by an OEM supplier called Endurance, and it could potentially lead to brake failure. Kawasaki dealers across India have begun to contact owners to replace the faulty master cylinder with a new unit free of cost. As of now, Kawasaki India is yet to tell us the exact number of units that have been recalled.
Now, Audi has been in the news this week. First up, it's the petrol engine lineup for the upcoming A6 in India.
The 5th generation Audi A6 will be launched in India soon, and while the current gen got a 1.8-litre petrol, the new upcoming version will get a 2-litre petrol engine. The engine, a 4-cylinder turbocharged unit, makes 245 horsepower and 370 Nm of peak torque, and will also be BS6 ready and will be mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. The A6 Petrol will also have Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system.
Now, Audi also took the wraps of its newest SUV. It's called the Q3 Spotback.
Expanding the Spotback family, the new Q3 Spotback is essentially the coupe version of the 2nd-gen Q3 SUV, which will make its way to India very soon. The Q3 Spotback is lower, as expected, than the standard car, and is also slightly longer. Styling changes apart from the sloping roofline include a larger spoiler, a new tailgate, and sportier bumpers. Mechanically, the Q3 Spotback stays the same as the standard SUV with petrol and diesel engine options.
And finally, in our weekly dose of red-hot eye candy, we have some news on McLaren's new hypercar. This one will be a drop top.
McLaren is developing a roofless speedster that will be the 3rd car in its Ultimate series, next to the Senna and the Speedtail. Sources say that this new car will be exclusively for road use and will highlight the fun side of McLaren as compared to the usually serious side that most of their other cars tend to showcase. The new hypercar will not be a hybrid or an electric, and is said to make slightly less power than the Senna from its V8 twin-turbo engine.
And on that note, that's all we have for you this week. Do remember to leave your opinions in the comments section below, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.